that goal didn't happen. That dream isn't there. So I was like, am I a failure or am I a success? Because for so long in my life, I had identified success with going to the league. I had identified success with, attaining this different goal. So in that moment, I knew like, no, I'm not no slum. Like, I know that I'm not a failure. So I redefine success.
What's going on, everybody? It's Coach Dom.
It's Coach Ed.
And welcome back to another episode of the Players in Transition podcast, where we aim to help you athletes with your transition into life after sports. On today's episode, I think we at 16, bro?
Yeah, we up there. We
up there. We're going to stick to it. And we got a special guest, man, one of my frat brother. All right, we got boy Ty.
What's going on?
Now, Ty, tell them your full name.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyrone Putman, also known as Ty Inspires. If you follow him on any social media, really, man, just out here trying to help people be the best version of themselves. So I appreciate y'all boys having me on today.
Man, amen to that, brother. We glad you came on because we both some inspirers, because my handle on IG is DW Inspires.
Oh God.
Look at that.
That's a connection. Yeah, I know, right? So with today's episode, we really want to encourage everybody. If you like this podcast and you've been rocking with us, please share it with your friends. Make sure you like and continue to comment so that we can get better at helping you guys and also helping ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We trying to grow together. All right. If you haven't watched our podcast and you don't know by now, myself and Coach Ed, we always start the podcast off with a quote. We love the quotes, and then we know how they can help you start your day, especially me. I read a quote every single morning. All right. So for today, we're going to throw it over to Ed, Coach Ed. Shoot that quote up, bro.
Got you. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Gotta unpack that.
That's deep. That's deep. Oh man. Just off the rip, just think about that. I think a lot of times we so worried about what we've done in the past or what we need to do in the future. We're so worried about kind of these checklists and making sure we control all these situations that we forget who we are. We forget the value that we bring. And it's by simply bringing your whole self, you bring the value. So I think in that space, there's so many things that we've done in our past that we can't change, that have gotten us to this point. And there's so many things that are going to happen in the future that we often try to control. But the big thing is we gotta tap in here and tap in here right now in the moment, to understand how to get to the future spaces and understand what we need to learn from the past spaces. My coach, back when I was playing at Rutgers, always say, chop the moment, be in the moment. And so many times we so focused on the past or on the future that we don't tap in on the moment. So yeah, that's deep. That's deep, E.
Facts. You might have to say that quote all over again so you can unpack that thing, man. I want to hear it again, bro.
I got you. It's light different, just FYI. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Ralph Waldo.
Facts. So I actually want to hear, I want to hear you unpack that too, bro, because that was a nice quote that you picked for today, yeah, for real.
Oh man, that inspired me because, like, much like Ty said, we often look to our past to describe who we are right now, right? Like you send a resume in, and that's all your past stuff that you did. So people see you from a long time ago. I remember such and such. And then sometimes we look to the future, right? It's like, yo, I got this promotion coming up, or we got the big game coming up, or whatever. We never really understand and appreciate right now. A lot of people with kids, I can't wait till they out of diapers. I can't wait. And then they 18, and then you want to hold a baby again. Enjoy the moment, man. Like, I learned that with my dog. Like, I can't wait till he older so he stopped doing stuff in the house. And he get 90 pounds. I can't pick him up no more. So it's like you really got to live in the moment, because the moment is always fleeting. But it's the one thing you have.
Right.
Cherish it.
That's key, man, because I know for myself, and just speaking based off of experience, I couldn't wait until I became 21. And then once I became an adult, I was like, what the hell? All these bills and all of that. I want to go back to being a high school kid so bad, dog. I had so much fun as a high school kid, but I rushed the process. Right. And that's what I hear when I hear that quote is, enjoy the process, live in the moment. Of course, that's that cliche, quote right there is to live in the moment, but enjoy the process because it's building something. You're building something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really it's jewels, it's gold in the process that you don't want to miss, yo. All right, because one thing that I learned is nothing is as it seems. So as you're going through that process, you have more fulfillment within the process than you do with the final product. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get to that final destination, it's like, dang, I think I enjoyed getting there versus the process it took to get there than what I did getting there. But man, that was a good one, Ed, bro. I appreciate that quote because that's something I was dealing with today.
Hey man, look, every day you learn something new. Glad I could bless your day.
Thought this joker was a psychic. I was like, what are you reading my mind, bro? Like, I was struggling today with that. That quote was on point. But Ty, man, tell us a little bit about your transition, man. You said you played at Rutgers. What position you played, and then also, tap into your transition out of the sport.
Oh yeah, man. So originally from PG County, shout out to the crib, but went to Rutgers. I didn't know anybody. I mean, no one at the school, but I know I was going there to run track initially. Walked onto the football team, so I had to really earn my stripes. So ended up walking on and earning my spot there. So I was running track and playing football. Then I pledged. So I was doing a whole lot of stuff at school, and I was really I had my identity based on all the things I was doing. Like, this is who I am. So, we graduate, finish football. The whole idea is like, go to the league. Like, I need to go to the league. So, I have a fire pro day. I'm getting calls. I'm like, okay, this dream is coming true. What people don't know is that process is not as turnkey as some other folks. You see the draft, you think, oh yeah, that's how it goes. Like, no, it's a lot different for some folks. So, man, was working out and doing all those things, and that process was just happening slow. So I'm like, man, started working. I'm like, man, maybe the league thing ain't really about to happen. So, all right, that goal didn't happen. That dream isn't there. So I was like, am I a failure or am I a success? Because for so long in my life, I had identified success with going to the league. I had identified success with, attaining this different goal. So in that moment, I knew like, no, I'm not no slum. Like, I know that I'm not a failure. So I redefined success. And so I said, okay, so what do successful people do? Like, what is something that signifies a successful person? I was like, well, money, fame, car, just all these different things that were just really fleeting. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I was like, all right, cool, I'll pick money. So if I make a lot of money, then I'm successful. So that became my new aim. All right, let's get to the bread. So I ended up working hard, getting promotions. In a short amount of time, I was really young and I was making some really, really good money. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is what it's supposed to be. Like, I can take care of all my stuff. I can even help my family with what they need. Like, I'm paying folks' bills. I'm taking care of everything because I'm financially in a good space. So I'm like, okay, I'm a success. And that only lasted for so long. And then it became like 3 years into this role I was doing. And I just felt like I was on autopilot every day. I felt like it was a void. It was something missing. I'm just going through every day and I'm doing well. I'm operating at a high level, but, I couldn't tell you what happened last week because I'm just going through the motions. Right. So at that point, I was like, man, am I a failure? Like, I'm not feeling like I'm a success. And at that point, I realized I had to redefine success in my own terms. Before, I was defining success in other people's terms. People telling me I'm gonna go to the league. That's the next step. And then my own self telling me, hey, look, making money is the only way to be a success. So now I took a step back and said, I need to redefine success in my own terms. So I tell everybody that, redefine success in your own terms. And in that, I started to chase probably one of the biggest words that I've ever looked at, and that's purpose. So I'm like, okay, money aside, fame aside, all that stuff is fleeting. It's in the moment. But your purpose is something bigger. That's why you're here. So I started chasing my purpose. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm really spiritual. So I'm like, God, lay it on me. Tell me what it is. I'm ready to go get it. And so I transitioned into chasing my purpose above all else. Now, I know I had a lot of teammates who struggled with, you know, getting into the career and, you know, find themselves in, you know, the corporate world, different things like that. You know, I leveraged the things I learned as an athlete throughout my whole life to really put myself in a space to continue to get promoted and build myself in the corporate level or my career. So, you know, as an athlete, you always working in teams. You learn leadership. You learn how to play together and think about strategy. You learn how to, you know, forecast and think about what somebody might do before they actually do it. So I took all of those things that I learned as an athlete, all those things, and packaged it up and was like, I'm going to apply this to my career. And so that transition was a little easier for me. But then it was a space where I'm successful in my career, but I wasn't chasing purpose. But then once I started chasing purpose, the career stuff took care of itself and the purpose stuff took care of itself.
Right.
That's big, man. Like defining success for yourself is huge. I had a situation last week where I got a memo back. The theme of that black and white piece of paper was red. You hear me? There were more words in the track changes than on the actual document. So I'm sitting here, you know, got a certain level of success, and I hit a dark place. Like you said, it's because there's no benchmark. A lot of athletes, whether you play your sport, you have a good game if you drop X amount of points or get X amount of yards, or no one touched your quarterback, whatever your position in sport, you know what the benchmark is. This was kind of a moving benchmark, and there's no real right or wrong to this, but there is a right or wrong, and that's definitely a tough thing. So like defining your success and knowing what it is definitely big. It's something that has to be able to carry throughout all realms.
That's you know, I like what you said, Ed, because I equate that benchmark as like a moving finish line, right? Even once you cross that one finish line, there's another one to cross. And that's like those little incentives that you place upon yourself when you're playing in the sport, especially for me, like in football. You know what I'm saying? Like my goal for the game may be to win the game, but to also, okay, I want to have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? And that's that finish line of, that defines the success of that moment. And Ty, what you said was dope. And I love that saying, redefining success. It's a continuum. It's a continuation of, okay, what's going to be more fulfilling for me, right? It's like, I thought it was money, but it didn't fulfill me. And I kind of fell into that same aspect or role in life. It was like, okay, the league, I got a concussion, league shot me down. So it's like, okay, what's going to be my next thing? And I sat in the dark for 3 years until I realized that, okay, I need to start chasing my purpose. So, I want to ask you, because, a lot of people hear it, right? A lot of people hear like, chase your purpose, do the thing that you love to do. It's not as simple as it seems, you know what I'm saying? Because I thought it was easy, but kind of tell us what your purpose is and how did you discover it?
Gotcha. I'm gonna take a step back. I played running back and I ran track and I was a triple jumper, all that good stuff. Right. I ain't get to say that on that part. So but as far as, just overall chasing your purpose, I think, like you said, people don't really get what it means. And it's not just what you're good at. It's not just what you're passionate about. Those are things that play into it. For me, I had to literally formulate a process for me to find out what my purpose was. And I've never had it heard it so clearly. So what I've done within my business, because I've started a business with this, is as a life coach, I try to help people help themselves find their purpose. Like, I'm going to help you find your purpose by you helping yourself. And the process that I did, I was walking home from it and I never heard it more clearly. Like, my purpose is to engage, empower, and encourage. It's to engage folks that I would never probably talk to, just engage people. Is to empower these people, to strengthen them, to grow them, to give them the tools to get to where they need to be, and then encourage them along that journey. Because as we talked about earlier, the journey could get crazy. The journey could, push you backwards more than it pulls you forward. So I really, truly believe is to engage, empower, and encourage folks. to really find their purpose and then fulfill their purpose. So, and I think that's where true happiness, true fulfillment, true living is.
Right. It takes a while to find your purpose too. I think it's okay to not fully know your purpose. Honestly, last week I determined that. I mean, I guess some would say with this podcast I am, but I'm like, I really got to define my purpose and actually have it given out. Like you said, there's various things that you are, and sometimes people think that's their purpose, but your purpose is a lot deeper than just what you're good at. Like anybody know me know I'm good at talking. Like duh. But like, what am I supposed to do with this talk? You know what I mean? Like that's what my purpose is supposed to be. So it's okay to be X years and not find your purpose. It's just the key is to hopefully find it before it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I think just to tap onto that piece, your purpose continues to change and grow. It's not one thing. I think a lot of folks think like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. It's like, hey, look, your purpose is going to change as your responsibilities, as your life changes, as you know, at one point, your purpose is going to be a great father or be a great mother or be a great parent. So it's like your purpose continues to change. Some of the stuff is more so for you. A lot of the stuff is more so for other folks. And I truly think that in every person that I've talked to or met with, their purpose is tied in helping or building somebody else. Your purpose isn't just for you. Right. It's for you to do something with or for somebody else.
It's a service, right? You hear that often. It's like, yo, what am I supposed to do with my life? I mean, as long as you're serving, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, right, and I'll speak for myself. We often, and when I say we, I'm speaking for people that are like me. We often look for our purpose in what someone else told us or what someone else said, right? Because I was going on and listening to every motivational speaker alive and just letting them yell at me like, you need to find your purpose. And I'm crying. I'm like, I can't find it. I need to, look, like literally, I've listened to so many videos on YouTube crying, trying to find my purpose. I'm like, yo, man up. Yeah. You know what you like to do. You know what you do easy. You know what fulfills you. I'm an educator. I love to coach people. I love to help people. You know, those are the things that I love doing and I'll do for free. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I started to figure out like, oh, that's my purpose. That's what they was talking about when they was yelling at me over YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I get it now, but I was trying to chase the dollar sign. You know what I mean? I'm thinking my purpose was in a position versus, you know, what I do best, if that makes sense. So, yo, Ty, man, you say redefining success, man. I really like that, yo. Something like a light bulb went off when you said that. I want you to talk about your career. What was the first thing you did once you realized football was over?
Oh man!
When did you realize football was over?
Yeah.
Like, so did you get crushed? Was it like a tryout? What? When did you notice that it was over, man? Because people notice at different times. It's over.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, we don't notice it, and when it really happens, like it was over a long time before we actually realized that it was over. And I think for me, it was a space where I had my tryout, did my tryouts. I was getting callbacks. I mean, I'm like literally, I'm talking to coaches on the regular. I'm like, okay, this is moving. And then it was this idea of like, hey, listen, we're gonna keep you in the loop. We got some other guys coming in. We're planning for some other guys. Once we kind of figure that part out, we're gonna keep you on this call list. So then those calls started to go down a little bit. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm young. I'm waiting for this to happen. I'm training every single day, but I also have to start my life. So at that time, I was in my first master's program. So I was doing that at night, 7 to 10. And the girl I was dating was like, look, man, like, I know you want to do this, but you also got to start to think about overall life. And I think as a lot of us athletes, we are so laser focused on winning that we want to win in that space too. So, you know, I took her advice. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a job. So I ended up getting a job. So now I'm waking up early in the morning. I'm training. I'm going to work. And then I'm going to school 3 hours a night. So I'm not getting done till 10. I'm starting at 4 in the morning. So I'm just doing this over and over and over and over. And after a while, I was like, okay, these calls not coming in. It's a whole new season. You know, we halfway through the season, I'm still not getting these calls. I'm keeping my eyes open. You know, I'm still training. And I started to see some really great success in my first role. So, a lot of athletes go into this role, but my first job was with Enterprise. And that's a space where if you're confident, if you know how to work within teams, and if you know how to, you got the gift of gab, you'll be in good shape. So my first role, I got promoted within the first 3 or 4 months because I knew, how to operate. Then I got promoted again. So within 11 months, I had gotten promoted, I think 2 or 3 times. And now football kind of has started to, it's like, okay, yeah, if that happens, then I'm ready. But let's start to build myself in what I'm doing day to day. So I don't think it was a space where I was crushed. I think it was even worse, a little bit of a slow thing, because then I had all this energy. If you play football, if you're practicing every day, you got a certain level of energy, and you go to practice and you can exert that energy. You got this certain level of aggression. You go to practice, you run into somebody, cool. But now I got all this energy and I'm in the regular world. And it's like, how do I operate? So I was lifting heavy. I was doing everything. So I ended up realizing, like, all right, I can do some things with what I'm doing within my career. So I made some moves. Then I ended up moving to the company I'm with now, PepsiCo, just on a friend going there. And then it was just like, they would offer me a good amount of money. And at that point, that was where I had that decision to make, like, am I a success? Like, football isn't there for me right now. And I'm seeing some of my other friends that I grew up with that's getting signed, that's playing, that's doing all these things, and not happening for me. I need to redefine that success so that I can find what worked for me. And at that point, it was like, okay, these people offering money, cool. I'm going to be the dude that got money. Right. And, that's kind of how it happened for me. But I know a lot of my teammates who struggle dearly to kind of get out of that space and really understand that you're more than what you do. You're more than an athlete. Like, your value, because we're taught so often that our value is in our performance. So you only good if you're healthy. You're only good if you play well. If you don't play well, you're on the bench. But in life, your value and your performance, typically, they always have something to do with each other. So I realized that earlier on, and I had a little bit of a better transition into the corporate or career world than some of my teammates. So, but it was tough. It was tough, and I still be having my hoop dreams. I still be having my hoop dreams. Like,
Waldo, when the DC Defenders came in town, I was like, "Hey, bro, I got 6 months. I might can get a couple more downs." You know what I mean? I was like, "Hey, look."
People be asking me, like, "You want to come out?" I'd be like,
yeah.
So
the crazy thing is, like, when you don't make it, or once football is over, especially if you got a chance to go to the league, and you don't make it, you feel embarrassed. I was embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I didn't finish the job. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of, I did some lying. I told people, I got some stash, you know what I'm saying, from my little time playing. I have nothing. So
they looking at you like a guy, though. They looking at you like you're gonna be the one to make it. Even your folks, you know what I mean? And then, they, at one point, they was talking about it more than I was. And I was like, all right, I was a little embarrassed. Like, I'm watching other folks that I grew up with, that I played with, that I knew I was better than, get an opportunity to go do this. And I'm like, man. So at one point, I was mad with God. Like, I did the work. I put the hours in. I put the time in. You know what I mean? I built myself up. I have the talent, but this opportunity isn't coming to me. So I was a little frustrated, and God was like, nah, I got something better for you. So although it would have been a great opportunity to do that, I truly feel like my purpose is where it's supposed to be. And it's like, that's going to be more fulfilling than, the league is lit. They call me tomorrow, I'm packing my bag. It's more to it than that.
So, my question, we talk about that embarrassing moment. Was it an embarrassment to work at Enterprise
at that time?
No, I was young, and I knew I was just doing it to get some money. I just knew I just needed some money in my pocket to, pay rent and pay bills and make sure I could eat. At the same time, it was some other folks that was there with me that was in the same boat. So we was on some, like, all right, cool. We still got our hoop dreams, and I never been a type to like look down on the opportunity. So I knew that was just an opportunity for me to build or learn something. So I never looked at it as like, oh, and it sounds crazy. I never looked at it as, oh, I'm working in enterprise. I said, I'm going here and I'm learning these different things that I can take somewhere else. And, you know, at that time and even now, man, it was such a great foundation for me. Sorry about it. It was such a great foundation for me in that space. So at that time, a little embarrassed when people are like, yo, where you work? But also at that time, I got promoted a few times, so I was making some good money, more than a lot of folks around me, and that just kind of created a foundation for where I'm going and where I'm at now. So I'd say that to say a lot of folks, we so worried about how our journey looks to other folks that we don't take the steps we need to take. We feel like, oh man, I ain't gonna do that because then people gonna think I'm doing. And honestly, your journey is your journey. And who's to say that that step that you take, or maybe even a step backwards that you take, isn't gonna propel you forward? So yeah, it was a little embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, I work over here. And it's like, oh, the car rental place? I'm like, yeah. But it also set me up for success.
But those be the best things though, man. Like, you talk about your journey, two things. One, real quick, fastest cars in the world go backwards before they go forwards, in case you ain't noticed. Even the spaceship goes down before it goes up.
Very true.
Second, a lot of times, man, like your story is just as lit, if not more lit than somebody else. And that's what I had to realize. Like, you think, oh man, what I'm doing is boring, this, that, and the fourth. You the director. The other people are the entertainers watching the movie and like, yo, this lit. Like, you got a great story. It's like, bro, that was terrible. It's like, nah, man, that's the best thing ever. So it's just like, live your purpose, man. Like, align yourself with your deity. For me, it's God, but I respect all. Align yourself with your deity, man, and go. Go. That's just go.
It's still a point where you when you reach that level, it's like everybody's banking on you to make it. It's like, yo, I know he got it. He gonna do it. That's pressure. That was like, dang. And you know you can, especially when you're seeing everybody else that you better than getting these contracts. You're like, all right, my shot coming. I know it is. Hey. But then you find yourself in a job position that's 10 times less than where you was projected to go. And the embarrassment is like, it's almost like picking a boogie in public, you know, for real.
Nah, you're real. That's real.
You know what I mean?
I understand that. Yeah.
You get caught picking a boogie in public, it's just like, dang, they got me. It's like you got it on your fingers. You got what you gonna do with it? You just go flick it off.
That's right? Real, man. I went through it with my parents. You know what I mean? My parents are the most supportive people. They see this goal. They see my talent. They pushing the goal more for me than I am for myself. And it's like, I'm like, dang, I let them down. I let my family down. You know, they were so proud when they watched me play. It's like all these different things. But I think at the end of the day, no mistakes are made. No mistakes are made. You may do some things that you look back like, I probably could have did it differently. But some of those things that you did put you in a space to learn something new, put you in a space to meet somebody new, to experience something that's going to help you down the road. And who's to say that if I had what I thought was my dream? I think a lot of times we be so focused on what we think is our dream or our goal. Who's to say if I had that, then I wouldn't fulfill my true purpose or what I'm supposed to do? And I also believe that so often we have to have what we want to realize how truly unimportant it is. I had to go make that money to realize this isn't that fulfilling. And no, money's great. It's great. It buys a lot of experience and opportunities. And you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, that's not what lights up my heart. You feel me? That's not what gets me going every day. So sometimes you got to have exactly what you want in order to realize how truly unimportant it is. And I got homies that was in the league for whether it be 2 days to 2 years to 10 years, who the value that they put on the league is, oh, this is a job, but what I'm doing outside of it with my opportunity is more important. So,
right,
yeah,
it can get crazy.
I done heard about some of your folks. We ain't gonna go too far, but I done heard about some of your folks, and they don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just because of the work that they've done in the community. I'm talking to people in their community, and they like, oh yeah, I know so and so. They did this, and I'm like, you know him? It's like, oh, I wasn't even like that. That's a good dude. It's like, oh,
like, yeah, it get crazy.
Nah, it's all good. It's an authentic conversation. So, you know, my thing is really talking to the person that, struggles. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, for instance, like I say, myself, like who struggles with redefining success, right? Because it's like it was football or nothing for me. It was the NFL or nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I made it, but then it's like when I got there, I just kept having injury after injury after injury, and then when it was all said and done, I walked away not knowing where my next success was going to come from because the NFL was all I cared about. Um, so I commend you. I commend you with, you know, identifying that, right? Identifying the fact that okay, football might not be it right now, so I'm gonna redefine success. That's hard to identify, or
Yeah.
articulate. You know what I mean?
I didn't then.
Yeah.
I was, and I didn't realize it. And as I got older, I started to be more aware of how I felt. Then looking back, I was in a space of depression. I was just operating. I was just a lot. Like I was just maneuvering through every day. And nobody could tell because I had this strong energy about me, this strong facade, but I was hurting. My mental was off, I didn't really know the steps to take. I was just going through each day. And it really got to a point where I was like, I can't go any further. Yeah. Like, just like that dark space you were in, I was in that, but I was trying to mask it with activity. So I tell a lot of people, some of it, we so focused on just doing things that we don't really focus on how we feel or what we need to really do. So I was making myself so busy that I didn't have to worry about being depressed or didn't have to even worry about being sad or embarrassed. I was just keep going. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks and I couldn't do anything any further. I had to call out of work and everything for like a week and just be like, I got to figure this out. And that's when I was at my probably most humble space. And I was like, I don't know the next step. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. I know there's more, but I just don't know what it is. And I need to try to figure that out before I can move forward.
That's a natural position for sure. I could definitely say that I'm actually at that position now where I'm trying to figure out what my next step is. I've identified that where I'm at right now, it's a nice piece of cheddar. You know what I'm saying? It's a great job what I'm doing. It's really serving a lot of people, but it's not getting me up anymore in the morning. You know what I mean? When I get up in the morning, it's not like a yay. It's like a okay. Like you said, just going through the motions on the steps, not really. And when you get to that point, that's when you gotta notice. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talked about football, and I had that moment too. But it's like I'm back here. I'm back, and I'm like, yo, I gotta transition again. You know what I mean? It's like I don't even got ball no more. So like, what's the transition now? Luckily, I don't got no kids, no kids I know of, no wife. So like, I got a little flexibility, but you still have to be able to do that, and within that, you gotta be able to with yourself make that transition and be able to take the leap, man.
Yeah. It's very impactful that we have these type of conversations because there are probably thousands and hundreds of thousands of athletes who feel exactly the same way, and there's nobody there to talk them through it because the people that they're around are probably have never experienced it or don't know what it feels like to chase something your entire life, do something your entire life. Like I'm talking about 7-6 years old, you probably start playing the sport until you're like 22, 23, when it's all said and done. That's your entire life. You know what I'm saying? That you've been doing this thing and then it's just taken away from you abruptly. It's like, we don't know how to deal with it because that's our identity. You know what I'm saying?
To add to that piece, one other thing I struggled with was structure. Like you play ball, you play sports, every day is lined up for you. So you know what time you got to wake up, what time you got to go lift, what time you got to eat breakfast, what time you got to go to your class, what time and then you graduate and you have no experience in being able to structure your own life. So I think for the first month or two, and the young lady had to tell me like, yo, you got to tighten up and do something. I didn't know what else to do but work out. I was like, I don't know how normal people operate because for the last 15, 20 years of my life, I just been going. This is the structure. This is the last at least 4 or 5 years. I wake up, I do all these different things. So now you graduate. The very next day after your graduation, there's nobody telling you to wake up. There's nobody telling you to go lift. There's nobody telling you got class. There are none of these things, and you have to figure it out. And I sat there for a month just going through my days, not having anything to do but work out and just focusing on that. And I had to be like, okay, I got to put some structure to my life because it's been spoon fed to me for lack of a better term for the last 4 years. And now I'm out here on my own. And I think that's where a lot of folks kind of struggle with. Like, all right, I'm out here on my own now. What do I do? Like, what do I do with my day? Like, I don't have practice anymore. I don't have class anymore. So I'm in a normal world. What do I do? And how do I do those?
One thing that I did in figuring out the structure piece, right? Because that's huge. That we get lost because we don't have someone telling us what to do. I took my college schedule, I wrote it out, and then I implemented my new life into it, right? So I wrote my new life right next to it, right? So if I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to workouts, I was waking up at 5 a.m. to go to workouts. If I had to be at practice at 7, I was getting to work at 7. And then, just like continuing, that process, because like we talked about it in the last podcast, is like, those processes that we learn in sports are very transferable, yo. Like you can apply them to whatever you do. And that's the advantage we have over a lot of people, is that we've done it, and we've done it for a very long time. So we're experts at it. But the thing about it is we have to identify how to implement it into our everyday lives now. You know what I mean? So that's I like that you highlighted that, bro. That's deep.
Oh, man. Time inspires, man.
Yeah. Ty definitely dropping them bombs.
No, I'll pitch one back to y'all, man, just as far as where y'all are now. And I think life is about transition. So you transition out of sports, you transition to the regular world, you transition into being a adult or a parent, you treat all these different transitions. I ask y'all, what's been the hardest part now as you transition out of football into your new spaces? Like, right. What's that new space that's hard to transition out of, or that thing that's hard to do in your transition?
My man must be watching the podcast, because he just brought up the extra point segment.
On his own. On his own. He came. Coach they didn't call him. Kick already running on the field.
That's what we used to do, bro. But that's fire. Yeah.
We'll get to it later.
No.
We can get to it now. We can get to it right now.
Let it flow.
Hey, man, live in the moment, right? The present. We don't worry about the past. We don't worry what we're doing right now. Exactly.
So I don't know, Ed, if you want to answer that first.
Nah, you got it. You started.
Okay, so you say that question again. I think I forgot about it.
As you transition from sports, like, what are some of those things that's hard for you in your transitions now? And I'll give you my example after, like, some of the things that I struggle with within these transitions.
The first thing was my identity. I lost who I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always the football player, the superstar, the jock, the this, the that. And then the lifestyle too, man. You know what I'm saying? As you're a running back, you know what I'm saying? You the bruh. So you understand the lifestyle that comes with being a star athlete, right? And there's a certain maturity that you have to develop to let it go, because it's hard, and that now that I'm a married man with children, I think they gave me an extra boost to let it go. But that was the hardest part for me in that transition, was letting go of that lifestyle.
That's deep. Yeah, I'm gonna tap into that whole vibe, because yeah.
For me, it's just making sure I ain't make the mistakes I made playing football. I underestimate a lot of stuff in football. I ain't really understand how it worked. I understand what went into it. I ain't understand a lot. Between that and just really just defining my own success, honestly. And not even because we talk about this, but just in general. A lot of times people look at your walk, whatever aspect of it, and they make a judgment on what they think it is, good, bad, or indifferent. For me, I have multiple degrees. I got degrees on degrees. The only thing I don't got is a medical degree. So, like, I can move some spaces, but people like, why aren't you doing it? Because I don't want to. And living in that conviction is my main thing that I struggle with, Because for a while, I was the big dude. You should be on the line. You should be on the O line. Nah, I should be on the D line. I'm a dog. Nah, you should be on the O line. And like that's what people told me. That's literally what they paid me to do. Like so, like that was that. Then even after school, hey man, you sure you don't want to try it? Go back, man. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Then I get into the legal field. Oh, you a lawyer? The lawyer. Even now, people see me. I go to church. How's my lawyer? What lawyer? Who you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't talking about me. But that's because like I gotta allow myself to define what my success is. When I come in front of somebody, I want people to see a human being. A big human being, but a human being with purpose that's here to help, and they got a bright smile that's just ready to bring knowledge and joy into your life unless you cross me, in which case I'm going to stop giving you so much, but I'm still going to give you a little bit because that's just who I am. That's just me. And just living in that conviction and wearing that on a daily basis is my struggle.
Yeah. I'll say one thing to piggyback off that, bro. The hardest thing for us as young Black male athletes is to shake the label. We get this label, you know, we call it identity, but it's a label. People put a label on us and it's stuck to us forever. I could be in shape and never played a sport in my life, but someone to look at me and say, oh, he's an athlete. Like just because I'm in shape doesn't necessarily mean that I'm an athlete. Like I don't have to play football to be in shape. And I see that so often, man. I work with this guy. He's about 6'4" and he's in shape. He looked like a tight end, you know, and people always ask him, did he play basketball or football? And he say, no, he's into IT, information technology. He's the head of the department. But because he looks a certain way, they automatically label him as, you know, that athletic Black guy. And that's not the truth, man. Like we are so much more, you know, than sports. And that's the purpose of the podcast is, you know, to highlight that. You know, because people are going to go through those transitions, but they're going to find themselves. But when they find themselves, we want to elaborate on the fact that we are more than the sport that we play. So stop labeling us as football players or basketball players. Like, yo, I'm a person, yo. I don't call you the well, I may call the mailman, but you know what I'm saying? I don't label you the McDonald's worker or wherever you work at.
But I will say we should embrace it to a level though, right? Like, yeah, no, don't label me. I'm more than a football player. Like, I know I got shoulders, but I ain't played in 10 years. And even then, I ain't getting no downs. So, like, I'm not a football player. However, when I walked into my interview and they were like, you played for the Seahawks? I was like, the Wagner Seahawks? They were like, oh, okay, yeah. But they were still like, you played college ball? And I'm like, yeah, woo, woo, woo. Next thing you know, you got the job. Yeah. So it's like it's a level of embrace it, but don't let it define you.
Oh yeah, by all means embrace it.
All the pros.
I'm milking the heck out of this job. I'm gonna milk it. But
what? Please do.
What I mean is that I know more, yo. You know what I'm saying? I get frustrated because you know I think people there's this stigma attached to that label, right? Dumb athlete, you know, especially if you're Black, the dumb athlete. So when I'm able to, you know, articulate myself with a certain vernacular, you know, I'm trying to use words.
My man got his tool in the toolbox.
You know what I'm saying? We go. No, but when you speak well and you're knowledgeable, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know certain things, it's like, oh, snap. It's a shocker to people, but it's like, yo, what you thought I just played sports? Like I ain't read a book or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't just look at the label of me as an athlete as that's it. That's who I am. No, I'm more, and I'm gonna show you I'm more.
Especially Black men, man, because they give us so many labels. Even if we're not an athlete, they gonna cross the street on you.
Like, that's a whole deeper that's a whole thing. I think for me, and a lot of folks know, if you talk to me, I got a million taglines. I got stuff that's gonna run like, and I think for me, in all these different transitions, one, I think in some of the transitions, there was a space of fear, and I pride myself on not living in a space of fear. I have no trouble jumping into it, but it's just the idea of, okay, so there's a fear of what's next, or if I'm prepared for what's next. And I think so many other folks, they kind of have this imposter syndrome where they feel like they're not worthy of their purpose because they haven't gotten to this level of qualification or this level, or whatever it is. And I think that that's what played in early in my transition. But I think the one thing that's gotten me through, and I say it all the time, start and never stop.
Right.
Start and never stop. And I think for so many of us, we see the top of the staircase. So we see where we're going, but we fail to take that first step to get there. And I think that's where we go wrong, because we can see the top of the staircase, but that first step is right in front of us. But because some of us are so worried about getting to the top, or we want to skip to step 10, we fail to step on just that first step and take that first step and go. And then once you start, there's going to be a lot of things that push you back, a lot of things that are obstacles, a lot of headaches, a lot of long nights, a lot of frustration, a lot of nights you like, I just want to quit and just go back to doing what I was doing because that was so much easier. But when you never stop, that's how you get to the top of the staircase. So you got to start and never stop. And I think in all of my transitions, that's been the whole idea. Like, I'm just going to jump into this. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I know if I walk in purpose, I'm chasing what's mine. And I tell everybody, chase what's yours. Because if you do the work and it's a part of your purpose, it's already yours. It's just waiting for you.
Yep. See it through, man. That's key. That's
see it through, huh?
See it through, huh?
See it through, huh?
Yeah, you gotta see it through, man. Especially, man. But Ty, man, you definitely dropped some bombs that's going to inspire a lot of people. We're gonna kill Instagram with this episode. We're gonna kill it with the bombs you drop, bro.
Let's do it, man. I appreciate y'all boys.
But yeah. Tell us what you're doing right now, bro. Tell us, your whole movement right now.
Man, outside of my day-to-day career, which I love, and that's dope. I work at PepsiCo, so I work on the Frito-Lay side, and I work in our sales technology space. So I lead all of our technology deployments and all that good stuff. So it's cool because we're pushing the future of the company. But outside of that, man, really my passion is helping other folks to find their purpose and fulfill their purpose. So last year I started my business, Tyrone Putman and Associates Consulting LLC. And it's been dope, man. We work with clients and we just really, it's really life coaching, but it's really spiritual coaching. It's really just helping you become who you want to be at the end of the day. So I've created this program where I take my clients through and we've seen some great results. So in that life coaching space, but also in that motivational speaking area, but really just helping to develop others to be the best version of themselves. And that's where I think my purpose lies. Yeah, that's what we're doing, man. Just really dedicated. And this program I built is over a few weeks, but we've had a few clients go through it and we've seen the results are crazy. They're in a whole different space of their life, not only mentally, but spiritually, emotionally, financially, socially, every area of their life we tap into, and we try to bring out the best in all those spaces. So it's been dope. It's been a dope year so far.
That's good, man. Drop your handle, man. Where can people? Where can people tap into you? Pause.
Yeah, nah. Anywhere, man. Ty Inspires at TY Inspires. So it's either a dot near on Instagram, it's at Ty.inspires. Twitter is just Ty Inspires. YouTube is Ty Inspires. But if you can't find me there, just type in my name, Tyrone Putman, and it's gonna pop up. LinkedIn everywhere. Or visit my site, tyinspires.com. We got everything there from what our offerings are to the things that we're doing in the community today. To just daily videos. So at the same time, I try to do something every day, at least, for some folks to give just some love. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do morning prayer. We be tapped in there. So, if you're in a spiritual space, we go and we pray. We start our days off and our weeks off the right way. Mondays and Fridays, we drop motivational videos. And Wednesday, we got our quotes, but it's just consistent, consistently consistent is my thing. Just be consistently consistent. And that's going to help you get to the sustainable results. Consistently consistent. So, link me, follow me, chop it up with me, DM me, text me. Let's get to it.
Ty, bro, that's what's up, man. It seems like, we're all in that same space of helping people, especially with our stories in the dark place that we was once in. So, we thank you so much for the work that you're doing and the work that you're going to continue to do through the, your brand, bro?
Yeah, man. I think you both, man, this is huge. And I love what y'all doing. And the fact that y'all been so consistent in it is awesome. And y'all don't even know the folks that y'all about to touch, the stories that y'all about to tell, that are going to help people out of that dark space that we all were once in. And so many times nobody's talking about this, and we kind of get us in that space. So just one other thing, man, if you tap in with me, join my community. I call everybody that rock with me chasers. Because I mean, if you rocking with me, you chasing your purpose, you chasing your goals, you chasing the best version of yourself. And I always tell people, love yourself, be yourself, chase what's yours. Like, that's huge for me. Huge for me.
Word.
Say that again. Say that again. Yo, that's hard.
Love yourself, because that's where it starts. Be yourself, because that's necessary. And chase what's yours, because it's already yours.
And there it is. Word up. Word. But yo, man, thank you so much again, bro. We really appreciate it. As the part of the pit crew, man, one thing we like to do is connect with other athletes. So, brother, we definitely gonna continue to connect with you and kind of build this athletic community and just helping people in general, man.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So there you have it. That's another episode of the Players in Transition podcast. On IG, you can find us at Players in Transition. Make sure you do follow us. You can follow me personally at DW Inspires on Twitter and on IG. I'm not really on Twitter, so just IG. Yeah, where they can find you.
I'm Eddie Shep, EDDIESHHEPP. And also follow and subscribe on YouTube. Leave comments. You got something you want to say about the video? Let us know. If you got some topics you want to hear, let us know. We love feedback. We appreciate it. We'll respond too.
Word. All right, that's the pit crew and Coach Dom.
Coach Ed.
Ty, thank you. And we out of here, baby.
Yeah, boys, we good.
Yeah.